Ever since I've seen the first image of this anime, I casted it out from the list I would watch. Two shows I swore to hate was One Piece and Jojo's Bizarre Adventures. First impression of an anime was a man giving dome to another man, or a buff-ass man doing Vogue poses in tight-ass yellow leather. Would you say, oh man, this looks good? If you did, you're a kinda special case. After finishing Stone Ocean, I can admit I am a reformed hater, and Jojo's is gas.
And I'm right back, ASAP, right up on my gut, and that's a life tap. Walk inside the booth, I just talk, I don't write raps. Walk into the store, bought the flow, cause I'm like that. Tell her, give me that, give me those, fuck a price tag.
Me being an anime fan, it's pretty impossible to not have heard of Jojo's. Being an anime fan at all, you know what Jojo's is. When it comes to hating things, I do it like a responsibility. This is the second anime I said I didn't want to watch and ended up watching, the first being the glorious Attack on Titan. I tried to watch Jojo's once and couldn't get past 3 episodes because of how garbage and boring I thought the first part was. So it made my will to keep hating on it even stronger. But slowly, that will started getting cracked bit by bit. I saw images of Giorno and could only think that he looked cool as hell. When seeing the drip of part 5 and 6, I was like, oh my god, these characters is clean. And the final breaking point was realizing the stands have tough designs. Basically, part 5 was my weakness into getting into Jojo's. And that's mainly because of how cool the designs were. I couldn't help myself from saying this is my favorite part each time I finish season. Golden Wind is my favorite part, but after finishing Stone Ocean, I was very hesitant between choosing which one is my favorite. So Stone Ocean is a close second. The storytelling between each part is amazing. Dio is the main point between each part. Even after his death, he still has such a huge impact. Diamond is Unbreakable is the part that has the smallest connection to Dio, but it's still very enjoyable with the story. This small town felt so connected because of how the stand users used their stands and interacted with the rest of the main cast. Almost each stand user in part 4 was tough, bro. From Rohan to Okuyasu to Koichi. After finishing part 1, I still have the same feeling of it being a little boring. I wouldn't call it trash though, but it's just a slow season. And with only 9 episodes, it doesn't have much character growth, or at least I can't love the characters how I love the others. With part 1, it's just that with the 9 episodes, they got to go from Jonathan being mad at Dio, and then Jonathan learning Hamon, and then Dio becoming a vampire that's making other vampires, then Jonathan having to defeat those vampires, and Jonathan gets with the one he loves and is killed by Dio. So it goes by pretty fast, but I wouldn't call it trash again. That is like so much different from how I feel about part 2 because Joseph is him. I love Joseph so much. His character is truly hilarious. Having to constantly predict his opponents is something I really love about his character, and I kind of was disappointed to see they took that out in part 3. Joseph and Caesar is the start of the Good Joe Bros. I know some people like Speedwagon. I don't care for Speedwagon that much, but Joseph and Caesar, that's a duo I love compared to Jonathan and Speedwagon, or Jonathan and Zeppeli. This is the best Zeppeli, and I wish that they brought the Zeppelis back. Joseph is a character I have respect for because he doesn't give up. And the things he does, his battle IQ is so high, I wouldn't even think that he could pull something like the things he did off. His fight against Cars, holy, I think it might have been like, that fight wasn't the best, but it was a decent fight. But his fight against Wamu, that was the best fight. Compared to Phantom Blood's ending with Jonathan dying, it didn't hit as much as it did with Joseph being said to have died. When Joseph walked back onto that screen My God, it was like he is truly a character I grew to like. I had the same feelings with the rest of the Jojos after that because we have more time to develop feelings for that character. Some things felt dragged out, like the fight with Anastasia or just everything with Anastasia. That part was literally a snore fest. I fell asleep multiple times just trying to get through that. And then the whole reveal of Lisa, bro, I didn't even think that baby would come back and be the mother of the next Joestar. I just thought that was going to be like a one-off thing. Or at least we weren't going to get to know that character. But Lisa is also a character I like, bro. Not as much as Caesar, but I like Lisa. And then the part where RP Caesar. But when Caesar dies and they go into the castle trying to find Caesar, all the rubble, and then she tried to light the cigarette up, and Joseph was like,
So Lisa, your cigarette, it's backwards.
they see the blood, and then Lisa knows that Caesar died. And it's literally where peak begins, bro. This part was fire. It leads perfectly into part 3 with the whole chest that Dio's in, and Joseph being the grandpa, and the mascot of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure sitting in that cell looking cold. Jotaro is a tough Joestar, bro. No wonder why people gag on this man like it's your boyfriend. This boy is tough. And I don't care what anybody says. He's not 17 years old. This is Tokyo Revengers level of line. This man is at least 24. Jotaro Kujo is a character I didn't expect to had a rough personality he did. He was talking to his mom was beyond crazy.
Jotaro! Jotaro!
Shut up! Get out of my face, you bitch!
She reacted like it was just, I guess it was a normal thing, but she had no reaction of anger. She was still hugging on him and saying how much she loved him. This is also the part I've been waiting to get to. I'm not gonna lie, starting this, I didn't know Hamon was a thing. No idea that we were gonna be introduced to Hamon. But I did know that stands weren't going to get introduced until part 3, so I just thought they were boxing with straight hands up to that point. When watching Jojo's, I didn't come for them to use energy sources like that. I came for the stands. I came for the Silver Chariot, Star Platinum, which is red. I came for stands made this series so much better. The fights was so much better and lit. Who knew that a dog versus a bird would be such an epic battle? Iggy was fighting for his life. And that's one of my favorite episodes in part 3. I truly do think that part 3 is decent part. Of course, when I was watching this, I loved every part of the next one. I was just loving each one I was getting to. But part 3 is Part 3 is not the best. A lot of things were just random. Not just the everyday stand that didn't even lead to anything further in the plot, which I think part 4 does a way better job of. Just the girl that was introduced, she had no purpose in this story at all. I thought she was gonna come back and be like a major character, but she really didn't have anything to add. And also the reveal of Dio, his head onto Jonathan's body, made so much sense when I was finding out about Zorno, because I was so confused about how this guy was related to the Joestars if he was Dio's son. This was like a big eye-opener. It was like, holy crap. And that's probably why Dio also had Purple Hermit. So I guess if Jonathan was still alive, he would have had Purple Hermit too. But the world, holy, that stand fight With the World vs. Star Platinum Dio versus Jotaro, peak. If you don't like this fight, I don't understand why. With these final 3 parts of the anime, Hirohiko Araki did wonders with his storytelling. From the villains of Kira, Diavolo, and Pucci, to the main Joestars, Josuke, Giorno, and Jolene. This is a star-studded cast of characters I fell in love with. And how all the final battles were not anticlimactic. They felt like something was truly done proper. Stone Ocean. That whole final battle with Pucci, how they all really lost. We seen Jolene and even Jotaro actually die. And then we are turned into the new universe. Everybody is dead except for Pucci and Emporio. Emporio comes in clutch with the Weather Report Stand DVD. I never thought Emporio would have such an MVP moment. And to the other 2 parts, the final battle with Josuke versus Kira showed things I never thought a guy can do with a stand that only appeared to destroy stuff just to reassemble them. Taking Kira's blood and having it infused with the glass shard to redirect it back into Kira was such a high level IQ battle tactic. And him making Kira also kill his father so he could stop feeding the information where Josuke was. Holy, Giorno isn't even less smart than that. I think Giorno is probably the smartest, like maybe head to head with Josuke when it comes to battle IQ. Because Giorno will on the fly think of new ways to use his stand. He figured out that he can make new body parts. When thinking about all the other parts, besides Stone Ocean, when thinking about all the other parts, everyone moves around a country, which is like a big country, and they go to places and they meet these stands users, and you know, who's that stand? Where's the stand user? But with part 4 and part 6, they are stuck in a small area. Well, for part 6, they're stuck in a small area for a little bit. But and they're in a prison or the small town of Morio. Well, Morio, we move around Morio, but we meet characters that also go back into the story. With the stand user for Cinderella, how she was important to the plot because Kira went to her, killed her after getting his face changed. And that was a great episode too. And with Stone Ocean, they're stuck in the prison of Stone Ocean. And everything is being passed through this prison. The stand arrow shard that Jojo was going to give to Jolene. This just circled, and with Pucci already doing his thing of making other people stand users, him finally getting the missing piece he needed, which was Jotaro's memories, to further the resurrection of Dio. You would think that somebody's favorite would be something like part 4, where they're in this small area that you get to know. But my favorite is Golden Wind, like I said multiple times. Even though they moved throughout many places in Italy, it's such an amazing part because of the backstory of Giorno, the backstory of Fugo, of Mista, of Narancia, of Bucciarati, even the daughter to Diavolo, even Diavolo. Each of these characters have a great backstory that just makes me like these characters even more. Abbacchio's backstory is such a crazy way for him to become a misfit. And when he died, bro, him going into heaven, or I think it was like a heaven-like type plane area, he is with his former cop partner.
Wait, it's you. All along, it was you. I took that damn bribe and you paid the price.
Oh, Abbacchio, you've done so much good since then. I am so proud of you. amico mio.
Unlike the other ones, I'm giving like good backstories to make me like these characters. The stuff Fugo went through was insane. Narancha's backstory, a freaking tearjerker. And Bucciarati having to live with the death of his dad like that was really sad, bro. These are the backstories that made these characters really strong. Great stand users. Them becoming this group of misfits that tried to take down Diavolo himself. I don't think I could pick a stand fight that I really didn't like. Well, maybe when they were on that plane and they had to go against BIG. Apart from that, I loved when they were going against Risotto's crew. Even Risotto's fight against Dopey. That's probably one of the best fights in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure's entirety. At least from part 1 to part 6, because I have no idea what happens after that. The guy that used the ice with the suit, that fight against him with Mista and Giorno, fire. It was truly high stakes. I thought Mista was going to die. Of course, Giorno wasn't going to die, at least that soon. But I thought Mista was going to die, because he's always on the brink of death within this part. It's like the Polnareff. But not to mention, when they get to the Coliseum and they met Polnareff, I didn't think I was going to see Polnareff at all after part 3. I have to say it. Polnareff is the most poed character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Maybe in the anime. I've never seen a character get put through so much pain that he was. He had to lick a toilet. His sister died, for starters, and he thought he wished her back, only for her to be like a zombie type of creation that tried to kill him. And then he thought he was the reason Abdal died, but Abdal was trolling everybody and he was alive the whole time. Polnareff almost died by the person that killed his sister. He had to be turned into a baby just for some sick stand user to kill him. And he was being trolled by Dio when trying to fight him. Out of everybody on the Stardust Crusaders team, he was constantly being bullied by Iggy. And to see him this badly beat up because Diavolo found him. The final battle with everybody facing Diavolo was amazing. Making Diavolo die and then having to die again and again for basically infinite loops is pain, bro. It's probably on the same levels of bad where Kira's Bite the Dust. With these last 3 parts, the villains were given insane stand abilities. First of all, Pucci already has a really good stand of Pale Snake, and then getting the evolution of that with the green baby was already crazy too, and then evolving that into Made in Heaven, insane evolutions of a stand. In Stone Ocean, when we reach the climatic part when Pucci evolves himself and we start getting other stand users when we leave the prison, all of them being the children of Dio was a crazy reveal. For a while, I was really stuck on like, why do they all have Joestar marks? And like I said, when it comes to backstories, Pucci and Weather Report's backstory is sad, bro. I'm not gonna defend the whole incest thing, but everything else about that is crazy. From the racist mob trying to kill Weather Report was sad. I have to say, Weather Report is a fire character. His drip, fire. And when I say I love the drip of these characters, I'm never going to say that these should be worn in real life. Unless it's to a Met Gala. Like that one dude in the recent Met Gala. He wore an outfit inspired by Giorno, which is fire. Because when we talk about part 5 in particular, they dress like they are going to attend the Met Gala. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures was worth hitting on. And I say that because I think it made the watching process of this anime so much better from what it could have been. And I am glad that I completed the anime series. And I can't wait to see what happens in Steel Ball Run, which is coming out soon. From what I've seen about Hirohiko Araki and his process of this story, I truly can say he is a top tier mangaka. I also did watch the Rohan series, which is something I wanted to watch even before the Jojos, because Rohan was just such a cool looking character to me. It was a cool little series, and I have to say, it was definitely interesting. From everything else about Jojos, I truly do love it. The characters, the world, the swag, and just the feeling of this bizarre world.
You're shaking like a tree. Are you cold? Emporio. Since you wanted to know, my name's Emporio.
And there's just one more thing I need with Jojos. Give me more stands like Echoes.
3. Okay, Master. Let's kill the hoe.
Holy, yo, this process was long, and a lot of breaks and rewriting took place. So, I just want to say after this, I do want to shift between the anime and like comics and like superhero stuff. I want to do the superhero stuff for a little bit, and then probably get back to the anime and just start doing the mix of stuff. But I feel like I've been flooding the content with the anime stuff, so maybe I'll get into like some Young Justice videos, some Justice League videos, Spider-Man videos, or even a video about Wakfu. Do you know about Wakfu? It's gas. Watch it. Or maybe after what I put up, you will watch it. But I'm excited about what is next to come. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry about the wait. Hopefully it won't have to be that long again. Peace.